Hi, thank you for joining us for this week's question of the week. Tom, what do you got for us?
So the question of the week this week is, what's a superstition you strongly believe in?
What's a superstition that I strongly believe in?
Good question.
I'm not a very superstitious person.
Alright, I got one. So, alright. Well, I mean, it's not one that everyone knows, but I guess a lot of people in the paranormal community do. Last year during my bachelor party, we went to a place called the Little People Village.
Oh yeah, never mind.
And they have this throne, kind of like in the fucking woods and rocks, and supposedly if you sit on it, you'll be dead within like a certain amount of time. And supposedly people have sat on it and they died. So we went there and we're kind of looking at it, we have pictures of it. And we're looking at each other and see if anyone would sit on it. Everyone's like, nah. I mean, with stuff like that, I don't mess with it. It might be all fake, but why screw around with that, you know?
Nobody needs a Final Destination
I'm
moment.
good, I'm good.
It probably won't happen,
So-
but what if it does?
What if it does, you know? So, I don't know. That one, that to me is probably one of my favorites.
My big thing is when we're on investigations and we're out for a long time and I have to go to the bathroom. Always asking whatever's there for permission to go. I don't know what I'm near. I don't know if we're dealing with this possible elemental situation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I always ask, and I always tell everyone, make sure you say, I don't mean any disrespect. I just have to relieve myself. Thank you. And I'm very polite about it because, you know, the last thing I want to do is be disrespectful out there. So, yeah, that's probably a big one for me.
Well, is Bloody Mary a superstition?
Yeah, I guess.
Why not?
So I kind of believe in something along those lines, because you could do like scrying with mirrors and stuff like that. But I'm only saying this because I could be wrong. But when I was little, my sister and her friends were doing Bloody Mary in the garage at our old house, and they wouldn't let me in to play, which I was really pissed about. But I stood by the door and listened, and I don't know, like I said, if it was because I was little and everything happened so fast, but I could have sworn I saw like a red light come out from under the door, and then they came charging out, screaming and crying that they saw Bloody Mary and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if that's true, but I do believe in something like that. But also more kind of different. I don't know. We went to the Jenny Regan house in Gettysburg. This is kind of morbid, I guess, and sad in a way, but there's a the door that she used to block her, to protect her from getting hit with bullets. There's a bullet that came through and it hit her under the shoulder, and that's what killed her. But they say that if a girl sticks her ring finger in that hole, she will be married or engaged within a year. So. But I would like to hope that it was happening anyway and that I didn't use witchcraft to. It's a little morbid, but I guess because supposedly like she lost her love in the war and she never got to have love. That's why. But so I believe in that one.
I think mine is actually one that like you kind of convinced me of. Is the traveling on November, like the day after November.
Yeah. Yeah, November 11th.
Yeah,
Around that time period.
it's like a cursed travel day, and the one time we went on a trip, the day after November 11th, I was driving and we got into a car accident. It was a bad car accident too. It was like $11,000 worth of damage to my car, and ever since then, now I'm like, after I heard about that, that's like an actual like superstition. I was like, got enough evidence for me. I'm good.
We block it out of our calendar every year. It's just we don't travel that day.
So now that day, I'm like, I'm good. I'm staying home that whole day.
Yeah, it was in a book that I read, and they were talking about 11/11, November 11th, being like a bad luck day, and the guy said that he was a paranormal investigator and he was supposed to leave on the 10th, and something held him back, and he wound up leaving the 11th. And him and his girlfriend weren't like super affectionate, and for some reason that day, like before he left, she was like very like kind of emotional, like saying, "I love you, you know, I hope you get there okay." And it was like kind of weird. And when he was driving there, he got into a really bad car accident, almost lost his life. So I don't know, it's just kind of weird. There's like all these different stories that happen on that specific day or around like, you know, the day before or the day after. So we blocked that day out of our calendar. We don't go anywhere. I'm like, you know what? We're good. I don't need to mess with that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you never know.
What do you got, Will?
I never really thought about this until the question was asked. So, I guess the one that came to mind immediately was, and I can't remember for the life of me, but it's either Harold the Doll or
Robert the Dog.
Robert the
Robert the Doll.
When you take a picture of Robert the Doll, you have to ask permission first. So it's along the
That's
same
Robert
lines.
the Doll.
Robert
Yep.
the Doll.
Robert the Doll. So, again, the same thing as the Little People chair. Like, it's probably not true, but if it is, I mean, what can it
There are
hurt?
so
Right.
many claims.
What can it
There are
hurt?
so many claims. Like I think they say when you try to take a picture of Robert the Doll without permission, there's always like a streak or a line or something. Or is that something
That's
else?
a different doll.
I'm mixing it up.
That's like they call it a demon doll. It's in Florida. Same
Oh, okay,
location,
yeah.
but different. Yeah.
I read a podcast. I listened to a podcast about Robert the Doll, and
Would it be
supposedly-
lore?
What?
Would it be
It
lore?
probably is lore. Yeah.
Good. Good stuff.
Plug.
For those of you that have Amazon Prime, Lore Season 1, there's an episode on Robert the Doll, goes into the whole history of it. Check it out, it's awesome.
Amazon Prime or Spotify. That's where I listen to it too. But there was one story where there was a couple that came in, they were making fun of it, and shaking the glass he was in, and they was laughing or whatever. And then they left, and they came on the guy's. There's a guy and his girlfriend came on his motorcycle, and they left on the motorcycle, got into a crash. He flipped over, like decapitated or something. I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but he definitely died. And then the girlfriend got severely injured, but she lived, and now she won't even talk about it. So
That's crazy.
I don't know. That's one of those things. It can't hurt to ask permission.
And don't they have like hundreds of letters that they get sent, like asking for forgiveness from people who did take the pictures without it, and then their life started going down the crapper. And
I think some people say that the doll that's on display isn't the real Robert the Doll.
I've heard that.
That it went missing.
Yeah, I've heard
They don't
that.
know what happened to the real Robert the Doll, so they put a
That's
fake one in its
terrifying.
place.
Yeah, a lot of those doll stories, it's all in Florida, in the Keys, and that's like that other doll out that you were talking about.
The demon doll, yeah,
It's
I was
like
mixing up the
it's like a
story.
porcelain doll, and it was like supposedly a haunted doll.
Nope.
And if you went and you took a picture of it, a black line would come across the photo every time. So the doll actually got stolen, and they had a picture of that doll on the wall with the line in it. And if you went and took a picture of that photo, you would have a second line.
Wow.
So it's like really weird. My supervisor from my old job went there, and she showed me the photos she took, and sure enough, there was a double line. It was wicked. It was so wild, yeah. So pretty cool though.
What about you, Michelle?
Nothing as elaborate as you guys. Those are pretty cool. But I do believe in the, no shoes on the bed, no hat on the bed, because that's like bad luck, supposedly.
Oops. That explains everything.
Salt spills, throw it over your left shoulder, that one. And then the other one where you take a souvenir from Hawaii,
I've heard
Pele,
about that.
I believe the goddess Pele kind of sucks it to you if you take a little piece without
I saw that Brady
asking.
Bunch episode.
Yeah, I've heard
They covered that.
It's the tiki.
So yeah, and then they mail their little souvenir back to be put back on the beach or whatever they took, and their bad luck seems to go away. So that one I definitely believe in.
Throughout, yeah.
What's yours, Tom?
God, I don't even know where to start. Like,
You wrote the question. You had time to think about this.
I can go way into this.
Well, pick your
I'd
favorite.
like to say I'm like Michael Scott, you know, I'm not superstitious, I'm a little stitious. I'm super superstitious, like, you know, especially going back to when I played sports, like, you know, when I played baseball, I wouldn't step on the lines, like, I was one of those guys, like, I still am, you know, spilling salt, all that, very, very.
Walking underneath the ladder on Friday the 13th.
Yep.
Not holding an umbrella
No.
inside.
Breaking a mirror.
Break a mirror.
I'm always knocking on wood, like all that stuff. But I guess my big one is I don't really like to fly. So I have a thing every time I fly, when I'm getting on that plane, as you're stepping from the whatever they call it, the tunnel onto the plane, I have to give the plane a little pat on the outside,
I do the same thing.
and
I don't know
say-
why.
and
Yeah.
say, "Come on, get us there."
That's
Every
so
time,
weird.
and it, like if I didn't do it, I would probably get on the plane and freak out. If I
Yeah,
didn't
I do the exact same thing. Every time I've ever flown, I always touch the outside of the plane. I don't know why I do it.
I do that
just
too.
do it. It's weird. I
I've
don't know.
never even like thought about it.
Me neither.
But like, yeah, I don't like like I'll just like touch it. Like,
Yeah.
Like walking out
Like
of a
going
sports
out of a
tunnel.
locker
Yeah,
room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll give it a tap.
That's so crazy.
I
Wow.
have to do it.
Maybe that's why I've never been in a plane crash.
Interesting.
Well, you're only gonna ever really be in one.
That's what I run with. I've
Wow.
done that every time, and my planes always stay in the air. So
That's
I just have to
crazy.
sit by the wing when I fly.
I would say probably one of the biggest ones, I think in the paranormal field would be the suicide forest. Everyone knows about it. I personally would never go in there. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's one of those where it's does anything happen? You know, I mean, I'm not one to find out. I'm
Should
good.
we elaborate where Suicide Forest
In
is?
Japan, isn't it? Yeah.
Aokigahara Forest,
There you go.
the base of Mount Fuji in Japan.
So.
Nope.
Well, I have a question about that. Like, so are they saying like if you go there, when you're there, you just get this urge to do that, or is it that if you have that
It's people
feeling,
go
that's
in
where
there
you go?
to commit suicide.
They just go there to do it, or
one of the
would
myths is that people will go in there not planning on doing it, but while
And
they're there, they get the urge. And
see? Because that reminds me of the movie we watched, As Above, So Below. It's not the same thing.
Some people will go there if they're kind of on the fence, kind of like hoping to have some kind of like they'll tent like in camp there, hope like seeing if they'll have some kind of epiphany either way.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things is like there's some kind of like evil in that
Energy.
forest that kind of just
And those
Drives
people
you
that are
insane.
unsure about it, they leave ribbons. That like if you even if you just search photos from that forest, you'll see they'll go on the main path, and then they tie a long ribbon to a tree or whatever, and then they just walk deeper into the forest and they just trail it behind them, and that's their lifeline if they decide, okay, I'm not going to do this. And some of the stories are when they decide they're not going to do it, they come out, they start following the ribbon out, and like they don't. Well, obviously you don't know why, but you can't ask them. But it apparently loops back around to where they camped, and it's tied to a tree right next to where it starts. So like that's one of the curses of the forest apparently, because long before people ever started committing suicide there, that was like local legend where the dead rested, like the spirits of anyone who is unrested rest. So it actually has lore from long before it was a suicide forest, but that's why it's cursed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week's question of the week. If you want to tell us about your superstitions, let us know right down in the comments below. Also, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. This way you can get updated on all the new things that we're doing here at Long Island Paranormal Investigators. And also, you're going to want to click that bell so you get notifications. A lot of times with YouTube, they don't let other people get notified whenever new videos are posted. So make sure you hit that bell so you get those alarms. All right, guys, thank you for joining us this week, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Peace.